How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Connor Wells. I am a photographer, videographer and podcast producer, and today we're doing a 1 month review of this bad boy, this chunky thing. This is the Sony G Master 70-200 f2.8. This is the first edition. Now, I've had an experience with the second edition, the Mark II, but I'm going to be reviewing the Mark I. So let's get into it. How's it going, guys? Thank you so much for joining me for another video. And yeah, like I said in the intro today, we're going to be going over some pros and some cons of the Sony G Master 70-200 f2.8 Mark II. Now, I'm going to start off the video with giving you some context, the kind of things that I use this lens for. Now, the main use that I use this lens for is 3 types of shoots. That is wedding photography, live music photography, and event work. What is a 70-200 really for? It's for getting a really compressed look. It's for capturing things that are really far away, so you don't have to be inobtrusive and getting in the way of things. For example, weddings. If you've been instructed to stand at the back of the room, back of the church or the hall where your couple are getting married, and you don't want to be wandering about too much, you can literally stand at the back of the room and get the shots that you want, nice and close up, nice and tight, really compressed, and not get in the way of everybody. For live music, if you are shooting from the crowd, if you're shooting from the pit, you can get real close up to people's faces, the instruments, and of course the drummer. Live music photographers, stop forgetting about the drummer. The drummer is there. With this lens, I can actually capture the drummer right at the back of the stage. And then event work as well. Obviously, event work is a little bit different. You're just sort of walking around, capturing, the look and feel of the event, capturing people's faces, emotions, capturing them smile. And if you were shooting on something like a 35 or maybe even a 50mm, you're going to have to get fairly close up, and obviously that affects people's emotions, it affects the mood. Whereas if you're shooting with a 70-200, you don't have to get in the way of people. They don't even know that their photo's being taken. Now, the majority of the time I use this for live music. I use this for photo and for video, and we're going to be going over the pros and the cons of this lens. Now let's start with the pros, because this is a lens that I've wanted for ages. It's completed my holy trinity of lenses. I've got the 16-35, the 24-70, and now this is the final zoom lens of the holy trinity, and that is the 70-200. And to have it be a G Master, it's fantastic to be able to afford a lens like this, because we're going to get onto it, but this is an expensive lens, and it's all thanks to you guys subscribing, so thank you so much if you're a subscriber and have been watching my videos since day one. Now let's get on to the first pro, the build quality. It's undeniable. This lens's build quality is incredible. When shooting events and live music, you're going to get bumped into, there's going to be audience, your camera and stuff might get knocked about. Personally, I don't feel too precious with this lens. This thing is built like an absolute tank. It's heavy. We're going to get onto that, but it is built really well. I have no worry and any doubt in my mind about whether this lens will sort of hold up to, shooting the maddest of concerts. I don't worry about this lens getting knocked about too much. It does its job, it handles well. Point number 2 is high-end handling characteristics. What does that mean? In my opinion, the way this lens handles from the throw distance between 70-200, it's good. I don't feel like I'm twisting my hand too much. I don't honestly use the focus motor at all. I don't use manual focus. I use autofocus all the time, just because I shoot with a Sony a7 IV. That's what this is being shot on right now, and I don't really use manual focus at all. And the autofocus on this is actually really fast. I know a lot of people say that the autofocus on the Mark I is a little bit slow, but I do have to disagree. I do have one issue with the autofocus, and I'll get onto that a little bit later, because that one is actually kind of a big deal. On the most part, I'd say 95% of the time, this autofocus is super reliable. It's super sticky. It sticks to your subjects. There's no hunting like, contrast-based autofocus. It just does the job. It locks onto a face, and it's perfect for that. But getting back to the handling, it's great. It's got the 3 buttons around the side. If I take the lens hood off, I do love the lens hood. It's great that you can got like the little filter part in there. So you've got a little thing for the filters if you're using an ND and you're shooting outside. But I love the 3 buttons here. Now I've programmed that button to switch me into APS-C crop mode. If I'm shooting at 200 and I still think I could get a little bit closer, I'll just whack it in APS-C mode. I might lose a few megapixels, but it's very, very hard to tell, and I get a little bit of extra reach out of this lens. And now my second pro is the image quality is really, really good. Like, I am so impressed. This lens is so sharp. I mean, that should be a given considering it's a f2.8 G Master, but this glass is incredible. It is really, really tack sharp. As you can see from these photos here, there's a variety of portrait shoots, event work, live music, weddings. This lens is just tack sharp. It's so reliable for image quality. It's a really, really great lens. Now let's move on to some cons. I've touched on a couple of them, but there are some cons. But overall, considering the cons and considering the pros, I'd say this is usually my go-to lens when it comes to shooting portraits and events and live music and weddings. This is usually my go-to lens. It used to be 24-70. That was my all-rounder, but I just love the look of this 70-200, and also carrying this about, I'm getting ripped. Like, this is an arm workout. Like, this is a workout. So let's go on to con number 1, and yeah, the weight. This is heavy. It is a full body workout. It's like doing a bicep curl every time you lift it up. This is a really, really heavy lens. I've got my notes here, and it weighs 1,480 grams. That is not light at all. When you compare it to the Mark II, which I managed to use the other week actually when I was shooting an event, and as soon as I picked it up and put it onto my A7 IV, I was like, wow, I can see why people buy that lens. It's very, very light. You can shoot one-handed with that lens. With this, I think I would struggle to shoot one-handed, just holding the camera out and just snapping away. Yeah, that would be a bit of a mission. I think I need to go to the gym a little bit more for that. But to be honest, weight isn't really too much of a big deal. I'm not going to be putting this on a gimbal. I'm not really going to be putting on a lightweight tripod. So for con-wise, it is a con for some people if weight really is an issue. But for me, it's just a contributing factor, really. It's never caused an issue. It's just something to be aware of, in my opinion. Con number 2 is it only has 2 stops of image stabilization. Now, I know the Mark II has 3 stops, and that was fairly noticeable, but it's, again, not too much of a big deal. I don't use this too much for video. I've used it for some event work, really, and I don't really... my opinion, I don't need that buttery smooth image stabilized look for when I'm shooting live music, because you want to capture that energy. Having a bit of camera shake is okay for those certain scenarios. But if you're in a position where you don't have a gimbal because this lens is too heavy and you have to go handheld, then maybe 3 stops of image stabilization might come in handy. But for me, it's not overly a big deal, but it is a con for some people to be aware of if they are thinking about purchasing this lens. And now con number 4, I mentioned earlier about an autofocus issue. One thing I've noticed about this lens is sometimes it will just not autofocus. Now, I've narrowed it down to why it won't autofocus. You can tap on your subject and it will select them on the camera, but when you go to take that photo, it will still take despite being out of focus, but it just misses it by a few millimeters. Like, it's just not as sharp, and I have figured out the reason why. Now, when I'm booked to do, say, a shoot for a band, some live music, sometimes I'll switch between photo and video, whether that's shooting video for them or just making a behind-the-scenes Instagram reel for myself. So when I'm switching between photo and video, I'm not turning the camera off. And then I notice when I switch from photo, after taking some snaps of a band, I switch to video and I get a few minutes of footage, review it, have a little look, make sure it's all good and my framing's right. Then I switch back to photo. That's when I notice that there's a problem. That's when I notice that it won't autofocus. I've tried turning it into manual focus. I've tried switching that on and off again, but it only fixes when I turn the camera off, let the shutter cover come down and fully switch it off, turn it back on, and it's absolutely fine again. I don't know if that's like a software thing or if it's a problem that other people have had. I've not seen it anywhere. I'm not entirely sure, but maybe it's just the lens that I've got. But yeah, switching between photo and video, like going photo, video, then back to photo, that's when I've noticed that, yeah, there will be an issue of it not autofocusing. No idea really why. Maybe it is just caused by the switching from photo to video and not turning off the camera halfway through. But there we go, that's just something that I've been dealing with. I know how to deal with that now. If there's a situation where I know, right, I need the camera ready for photos to be ready for this specific moment, I know what to do now. Whereas when I was just getting to grips with this lens, and luckily I've not missed a shot because of this issue, but I was a little bit confused. But after doing some tests, I have found that, yeah, it's because switching from photo to video and back to photo, it just messes it up a little bit. Overall, this is honestly, it's my favorite lens. I love this lens. Although it's heavy, although it's probably going to be the cause of my death, which is back pain, it is always in my camera bag. It just about fits. It does just about fit. And I'm going to be doing a what's in my camera bag video very soon. So make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss that. But it is a fantastic piece of gear. I love it. But guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know if you have a 70-200. Let me know your thoughts on it, whether you like this lens or whether you prefer something a little bit wider. And, you know, I'm in the market for another lens soon. I'm thinking a prime, an 85 maybe, 135mm maybe. Let me know which one I should get. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.